Well, the fight between Bogie and Takimaru ended in a double knockout. However, the focus here shifts to the match between Barry and Match.
Toriko Gourmet number 81. A big blast. A big blast.
Why, I think you've dislocated my sacrum. Just sounds a little dirty. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and sacrum-splitting tale of Toriko. Our last chapter saw us, of course, starting up the next volume, volume 10 over here, and really kind of seeing the culmination of the fight between Takimaru and Bogie Woods. All at the end of it, it was very one-sided for the most part, but then at the end, Takimaru finally went and pulled out his bottle opener corkscrew technique after he had located the one bone in Bogie Woods' body of over 4,000 that actually would incapacitate him. And then the chapter just kind of left you hanging there, presuming that he actually had beaten him, or at least, defeated him for right now, knocked him out, what have you. So that's where the chapter left off. That's right where we pick up, and we find out very quickly that this bone that he was able to actually pop out is the sacrum. The sacrum is actually it's normally located at the bottom, like in where your hips and everything come together and join together with your spine. A dislocated or dislodged sacrum can cause all kinds of problems, nerve damage and paralysis and just everything you can possibly imagine. The deal with Bogie Woods, though, is that because of his weird skeletal makeup, although he possessed one, it wasn't in the normal place that you would think that it would be. So he's really actually just amazed by not only how much damage Takimaru was able to take, but also how much he was able to, how he was able to still go and figure out and pinpoint during this battle, in the midst of battle, how ingenious it was that he was actually able to, very sneaky, I might add, be able to figure out where this was, because never did Takimaru, of course, I mean, that's a good battle right there, you don't want to let the opponent know you have the upper hand or that you've got their number, But done very, very well. And so anyway, so this sacrum has obviously been popped out of Bogie Woods and just lands on the floor over there, right? On the ground beneath them. And of course, while this is all going on, even though they haven't shown us, we're assuming, that Match and his minions, his mafia guys are, of course, fighting Barry Gamon. And, and that Tommy is facing off against Toriko, but they haven't shown it yet. However, we all know they're in fairly close proximity to each other, and we see Takimaru basically goes and, thanks Amaru, for the strength and giving him the focus and everything else, and then he's just like, I'm sorry, and I could not fulfill my task and my oath to retrieve the century soup, and he's just down, he's down for the count. He's KO'd for right now, right? So then we go and we get we get Bogie, who's just kind of standing there, and he's just paralyzed because now he can't even move now that the sacrum's been popped out of his ass, right? And he sees it, and he's like, man, if I can just get to that, I can pop it back into place, and then I'll be fine. I'll be good to go, right? And apparently when he's screwed like this, because he uses his skeletal makeup, he can't even jump to a host or another body, right? So anyway, so he pretty much got screwed. He got bent over a barrel, and they stuck it in dry. Anyway, no lube for old Bogie today. So then we go and we see Match, of course, the sword-wielding madman mafia guy, trying to go and perform moves on Barry Gamon, and he does this jump midair slice, right? That Barry doesn't affect Barry. Barry's fast, he moves out of the way or whatever, but this slice goes and winds up taking this sacrum, just cutting it in half, man, and just bing, 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 pieces go, and he's like, oh crap, and then he just falls to his knees. He's done. And then it actually says, the fight between, with Takimaru and Bogie Woods is a double knockout. Neither one are actually able to go on, So I thought that was kind of cool. Then the focus for the rest of the chapter shifts into the fight with Barry, who he looks like a tank, right? Looks and acts like a tank. Obviously the cold doesn't bother him, but we find out some of his powers and some of his background in this chapter, which I really enjoy, because he just reminds me of kind of like the Thing. I would say the Hulk, but really more the Thing, because the Thing is very rock-like in nature. We find out that actually his the stuff that he has on him, that's like armor, it's not actually part of him, and it's actually from a sea turtle that I believe was called, it had a really cool name too. Where the hell is it in here? Eternal. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Known as the living torpedo, and it's a capture level of 60. So this stuff is its shell is the strongest known thing in the human world, right? It's actually stronger than iron, and some people actually make like pots and pans and things like that out of it. However, it's highly sought after, highly coveted, and very rare. because of the fact that it's a capture level 60, so there's only a handful of people on the planet that can actually capture or kill one of these things. Nonetheless, so that's what his armor is made out of, and we find that out as Takimaru goes and tries to pull out a couple of his ass sword moves, and it actually winds up, he doesn't break his sword or anything, but he also doesn't really do anything but maybe lightly scratch this armor, and that's when Barry goes and explains to him what the deal is. And I like how Match goes and actually kind of lures. He assumes that Barry's going to be this big, boastful, just kind of dumb shit that'll go and tell him everything. And the bad guy usually monologues about his powers and his intent on destroying the world and everything else. But this was cool because the way that he did it with him and his little minions while fighting and dodging attacks was basically just kind of like kind of almost like a Columbo approach. Like, I don't really understand why you're able to move so fast. I don't really understand how you're able to handle these temperatures. So we also find out that in addition to obviously his hard exterior, the armor, because of this the shell that he has around in this casing, he is able to withstand the sub-zero freezing temperatures without a heat suit on, because he actually has like a natural antifreeze that like secretes from his body. And we also see that as some of the Mafia guys go and shoot at him, he just kind of does this oil move where the bullets just kind of slide off. And it's cool because when he secretes it from his body, it obviously can work to go and to shell off ballistics and make them so they don't actually have any impact on him. They just slide off or slide past him. So very cool power there, and they explain about how actually there's some fish in the Arctic and stuff like that can secrete something similar like an antifreeze. So very cool to again find those things out, and they're very enjoyable to understand the background of his powers. Then we find out because he keeps Match keeps asking him, well, what about this speed? How come you're so fast, right? And he goes, I'm not fast. It's just that you're slow. And the whole time this is happening, they're exchanging blows, but Match isn't really doing anything to him. He is beating on Match though, and he's hitting him left and right with pummeling him. And what winds up happening is that he does find out that it's not so much that he is that much faster, it's the fact that he's not slowed down by the cold. Indian guys are all slowed down exceptionally by the cold. Bodies just cannot hang. They just cannot handle it, so it slows their muscles, and that's why athletes take so long to actually warm up in the cold. So very neat stuff that we wind up seeing. And then what happens is Match winds up getting nailed, and then he goes and he says, well, I'm just going to have to pull more energy to be able to speed to actually get a full swing or a full attack in. So he does that, and as he goes to charge up and do that, Barry's going to charge at him and nail him, and he winds up getting shot from behind by a couple of Match's mafioso minion guys. He's got like three underlings or whatever with him, and they're like, don't worry about it, and they basically go and call Barry out. They're like, yeah, all you can do is just charge ahead like a dumb boar, So they're going to keep him occupied is the whole point, while Match goes and charges up or somehow is able to release more energy to be able to move faster and actually combat Barry and actually be able to have a fighting chance against him. So I thought that was very cool, but at the end of the chapter, he's just like, okay, hang in there for me, boys. And he's like, 3 minutes. Here we go. Just 3 minutes. Just a little time, guys. It's all I need to reach a state where I've released all my energy. Because remember, he has to concentrate, and then he can focus, and he can actually release energy. So, very neat stuff. But anyway, so just 3 minutes is all he needs. And anybody who's ever gotten into any type of altercation, I know this is obviously a fictional story, 3 minutes is an exceptionally long time for any type of fight to last. A boxing match, yes, rounds are 3 minutes. However, that's a controlled thing with a referee and everything else. But any type of normal, like, just fight, a street fight or what have you, a bar fight, I'm sad to say I've been in both. They usually don't last for no more than 90 seconds, couple minutes tops, tops. You'd be surprised at how quickly those things end. So, nonetheless, though, a very cool chapter, and I enjoyed it very much. And my chapter question, if you couldn't guess already, is really what are your thoughts on Barry Gamon now that we've actually seen and heard and kind of, firsthand from him, from the horse's mouth, we've gotten a background on his powers and some of the things that he can do. I personally think it's very cool that he's pretty impervious to harm, like a character like a Thing or Rhino, one of those type of characters, because of the shell that he has. But then I also kind of like how he's able to secrete that antifreeze type oil stuff that is much slicker, even than like a petroleum jelly, he says. And then also on top of that, just the fact that because he's able to do that, this is like his natural environment, like where it's super cold, he's fine, man. Everybody else is dying, trying to keep warm, trying to keep moving. It doesn't matter to him. He's moving normal speed. So even though he's a tank, he's a fast tank, or appears to be. So let me know what your answer are to the question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you sure think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you have not done so already. We will look forward to catching you in the next Fun Nation.
Remember to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and even my other channel.